Hey mommies, how are you? I'm sorry, there's like a tree on top of me, so there's some like weird shadows. So let me just move slightly. There we go, that's better. So I just wanted to say hi and to remind you all that we just started August, which is Breastfeeding Awareness Month. So there's lots of cool things happening in everyone's different areas, wherever you are around the world, because this is something that is recognized worldwide. And there's some really cool events coming up this weekend, which is the big latch event. So there's lots of events going on there. I'll do a post about that tomorrow so that you know the events that are in your area, because the big latch event is something that is, like I said, nationally and globally recognized, and it's an amazing initiative where moms latch their babies all at the same time. But I'll explain a bit more about that tomorrow, because today I really wanted to talk about something which I get asked a lot when new moms start breastfeeding. Sometimes there's certain days where obviously breastfeeding is demanding in itself, but there's certain days where you're like, oh my God, I can't do anything. My baby just won't get off the breast. He wants to be nursing all day long, and I'm like worried. I don't know what's wrong with my baby. Do I not have enough milk supply? So he just wants to feed all day. Like, what's going on with my baby? And the main concern is that there's something wrong with baby. They're obviously going to be like very clingy and attached and wanting to nurse all day long. And that is basically called a growth spurt. And what it is basically is your baby is letting your body know that he's just about to start going through like a really strong growth peak, so he needs as much milk as possible, as much nutrition as possible. So it's an amazing thing that our babies know to communicate that to our bodies. So basically, by them demanding more milk from our body, from being on the breast all day, our milk production goes up in those days to satisfy the growth spurt that is happening in that moment in time. And you'll see a lot of those, especially in the first like 3 months to 4 or 5 months of a baby's life, a breastfed baby's life, because breastfed babies are very different from formula fed babies. And actually breastfed babies have those growth spurts. Like, they tend to have bigger weight gain during the first month of life all the way to like the 4th month of life. And after the 6 months of life for a breastfed baby, it tends to kind of like, you know, steady out and to just kind of like not drop, but it just tends to like steady out a little bit more. Where in those first few months is like huge growth, and you see a lot of weight gain in your breastfed baby. Like when you take your breastfed baby home after they've just been born, they're gonna be really tiny, but in that first month, 2nd month, they like double their weight very quickly. So that's what happens with breastfed babies. And just so that you have a reference when a lot of those growth spurts tend to occur, there's a lot of them in those first few months. So it's usually like from 7 to 10 days, and then from 2 to 3 weeks, then 4 to 6 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and then 7 to 9 months. So you see it happens very often. It's like every few weeks until they reach that like 6-month mark. So like I said, it's very common for them to, and it usually lasts maybe like 24 hours, maybe a little bit longer, and it's just going to be a period where you're going to see your baby is wanting to just be on the breast and like vigorously suctioning on the breast and wanting to get as much milk out as possible. And that growth spurt will happen day and night, so they're not going to rest that much. Probably you're not going to rest that much, but it's really good news, because they're preparing your body to have that extra milk supply that they need, so that they can continue to grow and really get that weight gain that they need, so that they can continue to grow. And during that time too, mommy, remember that it's not just growth spurts. There's also other things that happen, like when they reach milestones. So maybe like around the 3-month mark, 4-month mark, your baby will start to turn over. And that's scary. It's like, oh my God, because they're biologically designed to have all these milestones, to reach all these developmental milestones. So for your baby, it's like scary. It's like, oh my God, I just turned around. Like, and they have this urge to do it. And it's just a natural thing that comes to them. But with that natural thing, it's scary, because now they can turn around by themselves and they can look at the world differently, and then they can sit up and they're able to do so much more stuff, and then they can pick up stuff and put it in their mouth. So with all those developments, they need a lot of emotional security. And where do they get that from? The breast. From booby time with mom. Because remember that breastfeeding is not just about nutrition. It satisfies it satisfies every single need that your child has. Love, comfort, security, nurturing, food, everything that your baby needs, emotionally, spiritually, physically, everything is provided through breastfeeding. So remember, during those times when they have these emotional changes and all these new things or scary things that they need, because for you and me it's normal, but for them, they're seeing all this, meeting new people, new environments, all these things are scary to them because they're not used to that in these environments. To them, they've been in the womb for 9 months, that's been their environment. So they're introduced to this environment, and obviously they're gonna be like emotionally challenged and things like that. So through breastfeeding too, they'll get that security. So sometimes when they're not feeling well too, that's when they go to breast. So don't think that because your baby wants to nurse all day that there's something wrong. It just means like either they're going through a growth spurt, or they're going through a developmental milestone, or they're just needing mommy time because they're not feeling so good. That's how you're able to comfort your baby at the deepest level. When I was on my first breastfeeding journey with Samuel, my husband had a saying. He said, if he doesn't want the boob, then there's something really wrong. And that never happened. He would always want the boob. I've never had my kids refuse booby time, like never. So it's always, like I said, it's like their home base. That's where everything starts for them. So that's the way that they get security and love and comfort. So just wanted to share that with you mommies. And also, if you have any things that are like frustrating you, because sometimes, like I said, those times when baby is just on the breast all the time, it can be a little bit overwhelming or frustrating for mom. So if there's anything that you want to share, any advice that you need, so that you can get through these stages, or through these like emotional stages for you too, because mommy goes through a lot too when a baby is on the breast all day and when things get very demanding. So please give us let us know what you're experiencing, what's going on, so that we can give you some feedback and some tips on how to get through these times. Okay, bye mommies.